Hey guys, welcome back to Something Social Podcast. We're your hosts, the James Curls.
I'm Mo.
And I'm Nay.
And we hope you're ready to join our conversations about dating, relationships, love, and just general adulting.
For more content, event updates, or to contact us, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at the James Curls.
And our podcast Instagram at Something Social JC.
Enjoy.
Bye.
Hey guys, we are back. We have a special guest, our very first guest on the podcast,
Yay.
Melonie Pinder.
Go, Melanie.
Melonie is my line sister. I met her in actually 2005, right before we pledged. We did not know each other before that.
Nope. That's all right.
That is okay. But Melonie has always had like a calming spirit. When we were online, she was our chaplain of the line. She just, took care of us. So
what is a chaplain of the line?
We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so Melonie Pinder, welcome to Something Social with the James Curls.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be the first guest on the show. So thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Thanks for being here.
Yes.
This is exciting.
And it's an important topic. We, especially wanted to, when we started back up, we wanted to talk about mental health because, we all going through
Obviously, for obvious reasons.
Melonie is booked and busy, so that says something. So we basically are just going to ask you a few questions, and then you can just give us your response, and then we'll just, go from there, okay? All right, so first we want to know what your credentials are. I know you're a licensed mental health professional, so you can tell us what your credentials are, where you went to school.
So I am a licensed mental health counselor in the state of Florida and a licensed professional counselor in New Hampshire. I got my graduate degree from Capella University and, of course, undergraduate from UCF.
UCF, go Knights.
Go Knights.
Yes, I remember a couple years ago, shortly after I graduated, I think Melonie called me and she was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing school counseling for my master's, and we talked about it. And then I remember her like, yeah, I switched to mental health. So, and now, funny thing, I'm thinking about mental health. So we'll talk about that later. But
I'm
all right.
kind of like in a mental health realm too. I just didn't want to go back to school to get my MD or like a psychiatry type of thing. But I'm a neuroscience major, and neuroscience is actually my passion. And
yeah.
I can't do anything with that passion. So now I'm a med tech. Yay!
Well, honestly, you can do mental health with that passion.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
I could have actually gone down your route.
Could open up James Curls mental health facility. Anyway.
In Florida and other places than New Hampshire.
I know.
Let's name
not?
Another random state. So wait, your licensure is not national?
No. So unfortunately, every state has their own governing body based on the Department of Health on what credentials they allow. And so depending on what state, for example, if I wanted to be licensed in Texas, I would have to apply and then also take another test. If I want to be licensed in Georgia, I just need to apply and then be licensed in Georgia. But the more states you're a part of, the more laws you have to keep up with, the more, CEUs and continuing education, things specific for that state you have to keep track of. So,
I guess I never thought about it because I was thinking in terms of, more in terms of certification, because my certification for my profession is nationally accredited, but I mean, I guess if I moved somewhere else, I would probably have to apply for a license there too. I guess because it's so far removed, me moving anywhere else or practicing anywhere else, that I'm like.
So it's understandable. I will say I am a board certified national counselor. So I do, and a board certified clinical mental health counselor. So that is national, but states don't care about that. They're like, that's great. Thank you for that. But you need to be licensed in our state.
So let me ask you, so for you to be licensed in New Hampshire, you had to do that to work with a client that lives there, or?
Yes.
Okay. Even virtually?
Even virtually.
Okay.
Wherever the client lives is where I have to be licensed. So, yeah.
And you take an exam, is it how is the exam compared to like the board certification exam? Is it?
So the good thing about, for our field, the governing board that handles the national certifications and the licensing board, they all pretty much go by the similar exam. So the good thing is I took an exam that is recognized in most of the 50 states, most, because as I said, Texas is like, no, you got to take a different exam. So some states, they require you to take a different exam.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Sorry to get off topic.
I know, we're like, we did not give all these questions.
I just, it was just for my own personal, just sticking that information in my back pocket. Don't worry about me. Carry on.
So what made you make the switch from school counseling to mental health, or what made you get into the mental health field?
So I was actually, when I started at UCF, my major was psychology, actually. And I switched it after my guidance counselor told me, I'm not going to go anywhere with that degree. This is what she told me. And I was like, what? And I was so confused. And I was like, okay. Now I know what she was trying to say. She was basically telling me with a bachelor's in psychology, if I want to be a psychologist, I needed to get my master's and doctorate. Then I could work in the field.
Right.
She didn't explain all that to me.
Right.
So I'm 18 and I'm like, what? And I went to Milliken Hall and I changed my major that day. And I made the decision on my way to Milliken Hall, like, what do I do? What do I do? And I selected marketing because my mom was marketing at the time. I was like, all right, well, marketing it is. But from the moment I walked across the stage, I literally thought in my mind, what did I do? Because it wasn't what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I had already just got a job and all that, so I stuck with it. But deep down, I knew I wanted to go in that realm. And when I discovered mental health counseling was an option, not having a bachelor's degree in psychology, I thought, okay, let me do that. I think I initially thought school counseling because I was like, I want to work with kids. And then I changed my mind and I was like,
I did the same exact thing.
I love the kids.
She went in the opposite direction, but I did the same thing you did. I was like,
yeah,
I love the kids.
Nope.
They're funny.
They cute from over there.
Yeah. But yeah, because you did marketing for a few years before you switched over. You were at SeaWorld.
Yeah. And then Universal, 10 years I did marketing and sales.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess I never thought in that realm either, as far as getting the type of certification and license that she has, because I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, I can't do no neuroscience, and I'm not going to get no doctorate, and I'm not going back to school. I didn't even want to go get no master's.
Same. I was like,
yeah, that's how I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just take a hard left.
Well, when I went back to school, we had the option to do both the school counseling and the mental health, like to take the extra classes for mental health.
That's awesome.
And I should have, like hindsight, I should have done it because it was only a few more classes and
you can still do it, yeah.
Well, my degree is old, so I don't even know if they'll accept. I don't know. We'll have to,
but you have experience. You can, that probably outweighs.
You still need the credentials.
Let's investigate.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at another time. All right. So being that we are in like these stressful times with COVID, with not being able to see family and friends like we usually do, things that are happening in the news and, politics, Texas, like all these things that are going on. How do you think someone can tell if a friend of theirs or someone that's close to them may need some sort of help or, counseling or something like that?
So it's interesting because COVID for many of us has made it a bit more difficult for us to tell because our friends, it's not like we're seeing anyone as frequently as we used to, right? So it's made it a bit more difficult, but what it has done is shined a light for the individuals who live in your home, I will say, because now you're seeing a whole lot more of them. What I always like to say is first and foremost, it is a common misconception that we will notice anything at all. There are a lot of people who hide their mental illness from others, even people in their home. So it's not uncommon for someone to say, I've been struggling with depression. And they say, I would have never known, I would have never guessed. And I always tell people, do not beat yourself up. People who struggle with mental illness, it's different from a physical illness.
Right.
You don't always, you don't see it most of the time, So sometimes you won't notice anything at all. But Other times, any shift in mood or behavior, things that an individual would normally find pleasure in doing, all of a sudden they don't like doing those things anymore. And that goes back to the being in a pandemic, because people who normally would, go out as almost a coping skill, like they can't be alone, so let me just go out. Now they can't go out and you're not seeing them. So it's more difficult to notice any major changes. But the hope is the people in their home, if they do live with someone else, are starting to notice their change in mood as a result. But I hope that answers your question, because it really just depends. It really truly does depend.
Right. That is true, though. I didn't even think about that, how distant we are from the people outside of our home.
Yeah.
That you really don't see anything. But I do know that I can kind of tell with some of our friends, not really that they have like, mental health, like they need a counselor, but just like, they'll be like, hey, let's go to lunch. And like, you can tell like, they need like an outlet, some sort of outlet. So
especially the ones that live alone. So
it's
like,
absolutely.
And then we're in such a weird position because we're here with our mom. So we're really, really still, I mean, Florida don't care about nothing or nobody. They out here in the streets. But
I know, it's terrible.
We have not been in the street. And I feel bad because I want to be there for, the people that probably need that outlet or probably need that like interpersonal like interaction. But we're in such close proximity, like since we're caretakers for mom, we've kind of still been distancing ourselves and not going places, not going to restaurants and not, so, I mean, unfortunately, as soon as we kind of, get in one spot, we're thinking, okay, it might be okay to like relax a little. Maybe we can go to a dinner or maybe we can like see some friends, and either something happens with mom where we have to be like, nope, can't do it. Or B, which also includes, nope, we can't do it. Somebody we know gets sick and we're like, see, I'm glad I ain't. See that? See this one?
Right.
Yeah, it hits too close to home sometimes. It's like,
Yeah, right. And the reality is, and you bring up a good point, Mo, about when it comes to you all have each other, right?
Right.
And you all are similar ages. Imagine if there wasn't anyone who was a similar age, because there are a lot of caretakers and caregivers who live, in that age gap is still like, I can't relate to this person. I can't. So there's still a sense of you're not physically alone, but you feel lonely.
Definitely.
That's true. I don't know what I would do without this one. My mental health is already like me. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, it's tough, but we're making it.
Yeah, we're gonna make it work.
Listen, and we're like, well, yeah, we don't. She has started counseling before. I've never had counseling.
Oh my God, I guess we could talk about that at some point.
Yeah, because
we're here.
Because that was actually, how do you find a good match for yourself?
Oh my God, it's a big question, please.
So, counseling is like dating.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't find the one right away. And I encourage individuals, if you do not find the one right away, find another counselor. There are a lot of referrals that I offer to people to find counselors, especially for men and women of color. But just because you may have a similar experience culturally, that still does not mean they're going to be the perfect match. And that is okay. We don't give up on dating after one bad date. We find somebody else to date.
Unless you're talking to. Unless you're us.
Listen.
No, just kidding.
So we will continue to find someone else who, fits your needs. You want to definitely be comfortable with that person. And one of the things I tell clients is, listen, if I am not the one, that's okay. If you decide not to come to our next scheduled session and you say, I decided to go in a different direction, that's okay, because it's about you. If you don't have a good rapport with that counselor, there can be no work done.
Right.
I agree.
I've been only through 2 counselors.
They are also
virtual.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think there's a difference between the virtual and like in person, maybe?
I would love to do in person, but I started my first one. I was through word of mouth through a friend of mine at the time, and she's in a different state. She's in Michigan. So I was actually doing phone conversations. She was a boomer. So she ain't, this right here ain't, yeah.
Yeah, she's like,
yeah. So I don't know how savvy she was with video calling, but I didn't press the issue. So we were just on the phone, and I was like, I need light counseling. I don't need any kind of like, in-depth, lay me on the couch, cry on some tissue. Yeah, I don't know. But hers was through the phone, and my last one was virtual because of the pandemic. But because of the pandemic, there was an initiative that was sent out through, I can't remember the name of the Instagram page, but they were saying that they would link us up with Black mental health counselors, basically,
awesome.
and for free. And we would get a number of free sessions, and like it was a whole thing. So I was like, let me try it out, And she was nice, she was good. But I later found out that she was in training. And I was like, oh, that's the catch.
Well, everybody has to go through training.
No, I get it.
I was going to say, everyone is going to be.
I get it. I just didn't, I guess I wasn't like fully aware of that. And I was like, oh. I mean, and there were some things that I could see where she, like hindsight, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But she was a very sweet girl. And I specifically sought out a Black woman just because that's just who I want to counsel me. You know how you have certain like gynecologists. It's like,
yeah.
The type of person I want there, or this is the type of person that I want to go get my physicals with, or whatever you feel comfortable with. She was slightly younger than me. She was in her 20s. I think she was like mid-20s. She was very young. So there were certain things that I was like, she doesn't know what I'm talking about. And I mean, sweet as pie, but yeah, and we ended up ending our sessions because after a certain amount of time, she had to begin her in-office visits again.
Okay.
So I guess they had gotten it approved, whoever she worked for.
Yeah.
And it turns out that nobody had ever talked about the fact that she lived in a different county than me. So I think she was in like Orlando or something.
Yeah.
She was like, oh my God, I thought you were up here. I can't see you anymore then. It's, and I was like,
but I do encourage her to still look for a match.
Yeah, because she kind of, that last one seemed to have, been a much better solution. But that very first one was a train wreck. And
she was like an auntie.
She was like
like an auntie.
Yeah, like an auntie.
And not only that, but she was also
like a judgy auntie.
Yeah, she was rude and she was unprofessional and she was judgmental.
But she's also probably difficult to work with. So I'm just going to throw that out there.
Whoa!
No, because she's feisty. She's very opinionated. If you're with somebody that's not.
If I open up to you and I tell you like things that make me vulnerable and like, don't come attack me.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it was an attack. I think she just took it as an attack.
No, I took it as an attack because it was her personal opinion that she was projecting on me. And I was like, I didn't ask you for that. I didn't ask you for that. She literally told me that what'd she say? Something that I act like a child. Yeah, she was like, I told her, I mean, I'm a very open person, so I have no problem sharing this information. As a matter of fact, it's probably written in my blog somewhere. I think it is actually. I was being sexually harassed at work. And boy, I hadn't even changed jobs at that point because that's still a thing. And I was like, I don't understand what it is about me that like I go to work, I wear scrubs and polos and sneakers. I have my hair pulled back most of the time. I was working at a pharmaceutical company, so I was in a coverall in their clean rooms most of the time. So I'm just kind of like, I don't understand what about me, without them seeing my social media, without them knowing me outside of this space, what about me and not about the other women makes them feel like they can just, I guess, approach me in a certain way or make me feel a certain way. And she proceeds to say, well, it's because you live at home with your mom, and because you have your demeanor is so just young and naive, and you won't even leave home from your mom. And I was like,
what? Okay, so
you act like a 15-year-old, she tells me. Carries on with like this whole thing that she has formed in her mind. I'm like, she has no idea about how much money it takes to live in South Florida and how much money I make, which I cannot leave. I literally cannot leave with what I was making. She has no idea that I'm a caretaker for my mother.
Yeah.
She has no idea that, like, because she was asking me about living somewhere else. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. Why? Because your mom wouldn't approve? No, because I don't want to be far away from my mom if her health is, ever in question. What are you talking about, lady? You don't even, girl, I went.
Yeah, I'm happy that you decided. Oh,
I was like, I won't need your services moving forward. So thank you for that.
I honestly, again, every counselor is not for everyone. And just because we're in the field does not mean everyone,
like teachers,
is completely and 100% competent to do the job, unfortunately. So because I've heard some stories of other people and their experiences with counselors, and unfortunately it turns people away from seeking counsel at all, ever. So the fact that you saw another counselor after that, kudos.
It was years.
And honestly, because the people have these experiences, and it is awful, unfortunately, especially if you're being vulnerable enough to share some of those things that are more personal to you. So you build the rapport, you decide to disclose these things about your life, and then someone says something like that. Of course, it would turn someone off from counseling. I would just say, I'm happy you didn't give up on counseling. Don't give up on counseling. And let's not, I know you said their second counselor was in training. So what I'm assuming is she was a registered intern with the state. So she wasn't fully licensed yet. But every intern has to go through, everyone who gets their master's degree, and you have counseling experiences as you're in school, but you have to go through 2 years of counseling. So that's 2 years, at least 1,500 hours in the state of Florida, and then 100 additional hours of supervision. So even if they are an intern, it doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't competent to do the job, because they have the training. They did have a one-on-one experience in college. Now they just have to go through almost like residencies for doctors. You have to go through that.
Right.
Yeah, she was sweet, and she provided me resources and things like that. It was just, I could see like the hiccup to where she kind of be like, I could see the wheels turning.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like free flowing, like.
And that'll come with experience. Yeah, she'll
it does. It will absolutely come with experience. And I guess virtual versus in person, it really depends on the person. I'm a fan of in person, because I need to see, what are you doing with your hands and your feet? I need to see nonverbal behaviors, because I'm going to point it out, and then we're going to talk about it. Oh, I see you're tapping your feet. What's going on? What do you feel?
Nervous? Yeah.
Right. Oh, I see. And then they're like, they hold, I'm like, no, let's talk about it. But I love virtual sessions because it allowed us the ability to continue even with the pants.
And you don't need pants.
You don't need pants. The best part about it.
Please, I need all my clients to please have on pants. Please.
We're talking about you, not the clients. No.
We don't have on pants right now.
All right. So how do you practice self-care as a mental health counselor? Like, do you seek counseling? Even me being in the counseling field, I find myself working a lot, like overworking kind of, to help other people. And then when I find, like, now I'm off, right? I've been off last week. So I'm like, finally, even though I still work,
She's still working. I'm like, stop. I'm going to take her laptop and throw it in the ocean.
But I do take care of myself. Like I exercise, I go get massages every month. Like I do make sure, I do mindfulness every day.
Mm-hmm. Your yoga. I get it on the Apple Watch. I'll be like, you should finish your workout.
I try to take care of myself. So how do you, as a mental health counselor, take care of yourself or practice self-care?
So I do have my own therapist as well. I have 2 different therapists that I see. One is a bit younger. So I'm like, hey girl. And the other one, I need like a mom, So I have 2 different counselors that I see as needed basis. And I think that's helpful for any therapist to have their own therapist. Because I don't want to say we take in, but we hear a lot. And some things that we hear can be quite overwhelming. And so sometimes we just need a space and a place that's safe and that's confidential to just talk about what we heard made us feel. Right. I also do a lot of running and walking. Mm-hmm. I try and do that at least 5 to 6 times a week. And it's gotten to the point where I know when I need to go, especially if I know I have a long day with a lot of sessions. I know I need to go either that morning or during my lunch. And as I run, it just sort of melts away.
Yeah.
Massages is another good thing.
I try to get her to run with me all the time. She's like, nope.
I don't like running, and it doesn't have the same effect on me that it has on everybody.
I don't like running either.
Runner's high. Do you get the runner's high? No.
No. I just be tired and irritated. I think my high comes from like lifting, and that's why I am having trouble working out at home.
Because weightlifting. Okay. And see, weightlifting does nothing for me. I like the idea of having ran and I sweat and I feel better. So that helps. Massages also another good thing. Mm-hmm. And then I don't ever see clients on Fridays. Fridays they're a client-free day. I may have a webinar I'm doing on Friday. I may have meetings, whatever, but I give myself 4 days a week for clients and then 1 day a week where I'm no clients. And that is helpful for sure.
Ooh, I like that schedule.
I know, you make your own schedule.
But you know what, as she's saying that, I'm thinking I am such an empath that I don't know how to detach my own feelings from what I take in from other people, even if it's a stranger. And it just makes me extremely emotional. I'm way too emotional. And I still get emotional. That makes sense sometimes. Why I can't do it, because I can't. I don't even know she was a child advocate for a long time.
I know. And that's why I realized I can't do kids.
Well, child advocate, that kind of, sad to say, jaded me to a lot.
Yeah. That's like 911 dispatch.
I know.
It's like, no matter what you do, it's like, sometimes you just have to know, like, I'm going to do everything I can, but I can't do it for you. Yeah. Like you have to want the help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even as a child advocate, it was not even their fault. Like they couldn't do. Like,
it isn't.
Right. So innocent. Like
even now, even in school counseling, it's still difficult.
It's not their fault.
I feel like
a lot of it's not their fault.
To be.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Emotions where I'm at. I just do my work and I go home and I don't have to think about my work anymore. It doesn't make me sleep at night. Like I feel like maybe I was just meant to be in that field. As much as I want to do something like that.
Like a helping profession.
Yeah. I'm helping.
Yeah. and honestly, when I was thinking about the self-care, I'm also thinking about everyone needs to have, outside of therapists, everyone needs to have their own self-care routine.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely 100% necessary, especially in the pandemic.
We need self-care. We need a self-care episode. Maybe. Definitely. Because a lot of people just think self-care is just like, oh, I got a pedicure today.
Yeah.
Self-care. And I'm like,
self-care could also be watching Girlfriends.
Right.
On Netflix and then turning your phone off for, an hour, 2 hours, and you're watching Girlfriends, you have your wine, you have your charcuterie board. This is self-care for me. This is what I do. And I am good.
My self-care is writing. I love to like fix up my website and write, and I just feel it's therapeutic for me. That's my self-care.
Yeah. Before the pandemic, we used to have like Saturday mornings where we would go to a coffee shop and just
that's totally self-care.
Relax and like plan out your week, like just plan a planner day pretty much.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a really good one. I like that, a planner day. Like just where you go out having your home and planning rather than not in your office.
I love that. That's going to coffee shop, like our little like mom and pop coffee shops is one of our
like finding one all
do.
around the city.
Yeah, we're like, oh, let's try this coffee shop. We go there and bring our little laptops.
I don't even drink coffee like that. I'm like, let me get a tea and
coffee. Needed. No. And I don't even drink caffeinated coffee anymore. I drink decaf coffee, and I still feel like I need it.
No, it's the experience. It's the experience. She doesn't get it.
Self-care. Drink
self-care.
Your coffee.
It is self-care, but it's good for your mental health. And meditation, yoga, which I've started to meditate again. That's also good for your self-care.
Yeah, Nate's trying to get me into meditation, so
it's so good.
It is
so good.
It is. I'm telling her. All right. Well, Mel, I know you are headed out of town later on, but one final thing, I just wanted you to promote your business. I know you probably booked and not taking any new clients, but you can promote yourself. And if you know where to send people, no, that's a conflict of interest.
It is. Unfortunately. But I will say, so my business is Pinder Counseling. My website is pindercounseling.com. I am currently booked with clients. I have a waiting list for those clients that are not in emergency, like if your need for counseling is not needed like ASAP, I do have a waiting list. But I also have another counselor that I hired who is a marriage and family therapist who is accepting new clients. So for those who are interested, she is in the state of Florida. So any Florida-based clients she can see. But yeah, and then for any in-person clients, my office is located in Lakeland, Florida.
Awesome.
That is so good to see you thriving like this. Like, I did not know you were at capacity.
Yeah,
like I got a wait list, boom. And the people are like, all right, put me down, and when you're ready, then we'll start.
Look, and I'm still not seeing clients on Fridays. So
no. And I'm only taking 25 clients. 25 clients is my max. That's when I'm at a wait list.
That's a lot of clients.
Yeah, so 25, no more. Nope.
Yeah, that's a lot of drama that you gotta hear. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
This is so exciting.
Yes, our very first guest. It was very
Thank you.
I thought it was good.
That's really good. I can't wait to have more guests and more things. So we're branching out now because we used to just only talk about relationship stuff, but there's some stuff that we need to talk. We
need to do another one about relationships and mental health.
Please.
Yes, you'll be back.
Let's put a pin.
Okay, because that's one I know affects a lot of people. So yes,
I am already excited about that. Actually, let's get some questions together after we end the Zoom. Go to a coffee shop and get the questions together.
All right, thank you, Melonie.
You're welcome.
Pinder Counseling LLC.
Good.
Bye.
Bye.
Now it's just us.
Sorry to disappoint you guys.
Yeah. Isn't Melonie great? Yeah, she took care of us when we were online. She used to just pray over our line. She used to just, she was like the chaplain is like the person that's like, prays for you and takes care of the line. She was like our
that's what the chaplain is.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we do need to talk about relationships and mental health because I, for one, was affected.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a bunch of different things. But that was definitely included, like a breakup. Terrible.
We ain't even gonna talk about my breakup from last year, the year before last.
Yeah, but you didn't lose your hair.
I didn't lose my hair.
I lost my hair,
but I lost my mind.
What's her name? Madam C.J. Walker. I was like, when I watched that movie, I was like,
But I lost my mind.
I lost my mind too, and I lost my hair. But my problem is that I keep everything internalized. So the stress just gets me internally and it just affects my body. But
oh my God, yeah. Talk about that for a second.
Yeah, I just thought, one day I was doing my little twist out, like, hey, and Mo was like, what is that?
I saw a little hole. I was just passing by the bathroom and I was like, is that her scalp? Probably about the size of like a dime. It was so small, but it was enough for me to be like, you lost a significant chunk of hair just now.
But it was bald.
She had just taken braids out. So we thought like maybe the whole braid just said, bye.
Yeah, and I'm like, no way it did that, because I would have seen it on the floor somewhere. That didn't happen. So that started out as a dime size, grew to like,
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say about 40% of your hair was lost. 40%.
It was a huge chunk.
She internalizes her emotions so much that it physically affects her. And on top of that, when your 30th birthday, you had gastrointestinal issues. She had like,
I don't know if that was from stress though.
What do you think that was from?
I have no idea what that was from.
30?
The stress of turning 30, maybe. I don't know, because I wasn't, well, it was definitely wasn't relationship stress.
Depressed and stressed when I turned 30. Yeah, 30 was the worst year of my life.
I don't know what that gastrointestinal issues was from, but I still have those issues sometimes, like if I eat too much or whatever, like acid reflux and stuff.
I lied. 2020 was the worst year of my life, but 30 was a close second. Yeah, I don't know what that's from, but I feel like that had something to do with it. No?
Could have.
Either way.
Came out of the blue, so maybe.
Her menstrual cycle got jacked up.
It did. That was like the other day.
You was still stressed the other day.
So this is what happened. So it started out with like just life stress, breakup. Then it went to like,
because it
just kept growing.
Any kind of stress affect you.
My job, function, like my duties changed a little bit. So I was like worried about that. So then it went from all of that stress to, what year was that? 2018, 19. Whatever. I think it went over to, what year are we in? 2021? Yeah. So 2019, it started like in March 2019. Then it went over to January 2020 when my mom was in the hospital for a month. Then that stress added on. It was just like back to back to back to back. Then it just kept going, and it was like, it would grow back and then like a new spot would form. Like it just kept spreading.
Yeah.
So fast forward, January 2020 was a mess.
That's also part of why we had stopped doing James curl things, because she was feeling really insecure about her hair and about her like just general situation.
It's mine, but it ain't mine.
It's beautiful. You're beautiful.
Yeah. So I wear my hair in a bun. I wear it in a bun forever because now I have hair, but it's like straight hair.
It's a different grade. It's like newborn baby hair.
So anyway, yeah, I ended up going to the dermatologist. They ended up giving me these like steroid type shots and it worked. And I finally graduated the other day, but now I found a new like little spot that I need to get taken care of.
But you know what they say, people with alopecia, it's like a roller coaster sometimes,
Right.
Like I'll see people on YouTube, because when it first happened, I was on YouTube like, what the freak is happening?
I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I was like, does she need like, what does she need?
I was like, alopecia, like I've never had, nobody in my family has alopecia.
But the
like,
people
I don't know where that came
on
from.
YouTube were saying, oh, my hair grew back, look how beautiful. And then there would be another video of them like, I found another spot, and they'd just be completely just like destroyed. Yeah. Or it would just, theirs was like totalis, alopecia totalis.
Yeah.
And they would just.
Yeah, mine is spot. It's not like the whole thing. And luckily it came in spots where I could still kind of like cover it. Yeah. Like I could wear my hair in a ponytail, you can't tell. Especially now that, my scalp is covered. But yeah, I was pretty much bald. I changed my little emoji thing to the little bald girl.
She was bald.
I was bald. I thought about shaving my head. I was about to go straight Britney Spears on everybody. But
listen, if she shaved her head, I already was like, you just give me the word. I'm like, this had no way.
I'm still considering it, but we'll see. Well, but anyway, yeah. So it's just stress after stress after stress. So that's what actually got me into mindfulness, because I was like, you know what? I need something that's and running. That's when I started running. I started doing the Calm app every day almost. And yeah, so
it's been working out.
It's been working.
I'm a very different type of stressor. I am an anxious mess. I'm very vocal. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm very vocal. And that includes when I'm stressed out. So if I'm stressed out, anyone who will listen, which is why I started a website, because I was like, all of y'all gonna listen now. And so I would legit but May can attest to this, especially when I'm PMS, I have zero control over my emotions and zero control over my life. And I'll just be like talking and just like burst out into random tears. And she'd be like, what is wrong with you? I literally went to this was back in 2017 when I turned 30. I used to have anxious meltdowns. Mm-hmm. And I would have to go in the bathroom or go on the balcony of where I was working at the time. And I would have to call my mom and she would have to talk me down every time. Because I'd be like, and she's like, what is wrong with you? What do I need to do to help you? It got really bad. But I think mine is more anxiety based than anything. I lose sleep. I don't lose my hair, but I lose sleep and I look like a zombie and I feel like a zombie. I have, constant headaches. My periods get affected. There's just a whole thing, but mine is more based around having random attacks of I guess just anxiety attacks.
But that's why I got into mindfulness too, because it reminds you that no feeling is permanent. So when you think about anxiety, you're always worried about something that could happen or should happen or what you expected to happen that didn't go your way or whatever. All those feelings bring up that anxiety. Mm-hmm. And then the next day you're not even worried about whatever it was that you were anxious about the day before. I mean, sometimes you are, but mindfulness just reminds you that there's no permanent feeling. Everything comes and goes in waves, ebbs and flows, So it just having that every morning. I just do 10 minutes, the Calm app. I do guided meditation. I listen to it I listen to it on the way to work. Sometimes I listen to it while I'm getting dressed. Sometimes I do a quick yoga stretch to it, whatever it is. And then just gets my mind right.
Managed for a while my anxiety when I was working out, but 2020 happened and the pandemic happened and I haven't been moving like I should. And now I can notice there's a noticeable difference in my mental health. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it's a hard decline. Mm-hmm. It's just, but it's a decline nonetheless. And I'm not comfortable with it. So I'm so I have to find, an outlet. Writing. Yeah. But I think I need to do physical exercise because I always preach this about endorphins. You don't feel them taking place. You don't feel them you don't, well, unless you're Nay or Melonie, you get the runner's high. But I didn't feel anything. And then I came out of I don't know, depression's a strong word, but I came out of my mental health funk and I didn't realize it. And I think it was because I was working out consistently and that was an outlet for me. And I found a safe place there. And with my friends and my family, and that kind of helped me get where I needed to get mentally, but it was also the endorphins that I was releasing. Everything with me has got to be science. I'm what is going on chemically here? And that's pretty much what it is. I always preach that. I'm listen, go work out, go do something. If you feel like you're not okay, get active because at some point, once you form that habit, after a week or two of forming the habit of getting physically active, you could change your state of, mental health. Right. It's amazing.
Which is why I try to get her to run sometimes because I personally do not like running either.
I feel like running stresses me out more than anything.
She's anxious about running because she thinks that I'm going to just leave her.
Not even by myself. I'm just no.
But sometimes I'll run for 10 minutes.
Different strokes 20 minutes. Different folks. I think I would be better off doing a HIIT exercise. I think I'd be better doing that. Or maybe even sprinting. I think I'd be better off doing it. But just running stresses me out. And then I get angry that I can't run. Anyway.
I've never been a runner, but it does. I'm like Melonie. It does something about it. Just like I can feel when my body, I'm like, I need to go run today. Like I need to run. Like I'll literally wake up and say, I need to run today. Like I just feel like, you know, and
she'll say that for sure.
It definitely makes me feel better. I feel like that helped
wake up and think that.
Contributed to my hair growing back.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
How are you taking care of yourselves? Make sure that you have something that you have, like some sort of self-care, you know, like Melonie said, something that you do to take care of yourself, whether it be counseling or just something that you like to do, taking a break from social media, something that takes care of your mental health, because there's a lot going on around us and within us that we need to address.
Some friends that recently have been experiencing like really strange mental health dips, ebbs and flows. And I tell them, obviously, get active. I'm like, do as I say, not as I do, because I'm over here like, and I'm not active. Get active. Find something like she said, something that you like to do. They don't think of that. People don't think of that. Like doing something that you enjoy, like how I said, writing is mine. Doing something that I enjoy doing is therapeutic. It doesn't, and that's why I say, you know, self-care doesn't have to be you going to get your ends clipped. I mean, it can be, but you know, they're like, oh, I sat around in a robe, self-care. And it's like, all right, well, if that's your form of self-care, great. But if you don't feel after that, like you've just, you know, like you can exhale, then maybe that's not your form of self-care. You have to find what's
like
specific
you have a new
to
energy.
You.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people base it on like, what are others doing for self-care? But my self-care don't look like everybody else's.
No, self-care, not everybody else care.
Everybody else care. Because guess what? Everybody else don't care. They don't.
They only care about themselves.
Self-care, full circle. Yeah, find what you like to do. And
I just think it's really important, especially like now, because, you know, even with like the things that we see on the news and, you know, people, like I know people that live in Texas, I'm constantly like, how are y'all? Are you okay? Yeah. Like, you know, just different things that you can do to take care of yourself is very important, because I mean, we got to fend for ourselves out here. It's a tough world, and social media and, you know, all the stuff that we see on TV is not making it any better. So, yeah, you know, just keep on taking care of yourself. And if you need the help, seek help. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to ask Melonie about the, about African Americans seeking more help, but that's okay. We know that, you know, we are seeking help a little bit more than usual. Now, our parents' age, I don't know about them, because
I don't know how to help them, and they need help.
They all need help. They lived through the freaking Jim Crow. I mean, come on.
But and they just bottle that up. It's like, oh, that's life. It's like, no, it's not, because you're clearly disturbed in your adult years. So what is happening? How can we
have to just take care. I'm glad to see more people in our generation taking care of themselves, not taking care of themselves, but just more like seeking the help that they may need, because.
And also just generally like working out too. And
they're
getting
just healthier.
Like, you know what, let's change.
I mean, health is not just your physical health. Obviously it is your mental health too. And that needs to be normalized.
I think it's becoming more so. It started with our generation.
Yeah. So moving forward, you know, hopefully there'll be a change, especially within our communities. Yeah. Because, you know, our parents, with a counselor and a neuroscientist,
I wish,
neuroscience major, future neuroscientist,
bachelor's and
they don't listen to us. They be like, what do you, my daddy literally still asks me to this day, what do you do? Nothing.
Not only that, but he also denies that mental health is like something to take care of. He's like, what do you
especially mean? With kids. He's like, you work with kids, mental health? Well, that's nothing.
Yeah, they don't have anything. Like, in the meantime, he's like, yeah, I mean, I remember I found that body over by blah, blah, blah. It's like, whoa.
you need that affects your brain.
You need to talk about this. I need to talk about this. Now that I've heard this, I need to talk about this.
So what's our tip?
Just a tip.
Just the tip.
Find what works for you. Mm-hmm. Do that. If that is physical, if it is, you know, getting out, running, or doing whatever the case is, if that's going to find coffee shops and sitting in them for hours at a time and just being in your, whatever whatever you consider to be your happy place, do that. Wherever you feel safe, wherever you feel rejuvenated, and wherever you feel energized, do that.
Yeah.
Regularly. Schedule time for yourself. Like, if you're not careful, you'll just get caught up in the rhetoric and
you have to make
the
time.
routine.
I don't have time for self-care. You have to
for yourself.
Make the time.
Make yourself a priority. Like, nobody else is making you a priority. Make yourself a priority.
I did a training for side note, I did a training for like some of the parents at our school, and I talked about, and teachers too, and I talked about self-care and taking care of yourself, and the teachers will be like, oh, we don't have time for self-care, and it's like, I'm sure you were on Facebook for 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Like, you could have done something, even if you would have
take out
quietly for 10 minutes, you could have taken a 10-minute walk.
Before you go to bed, or when you first wake up, your drive to work, like,
wake up 10 minutes earlier, go to bed 10 minutes later.
My like meditation and all of that, when I was like a little deeper into that, was when I was commuting to and from Miami. And I had an hour and 15 minutes to just kill. So instead of filling my brain with trash and garbage, like this freaking garbage podcast that I was listening to, or garbage music, or it's not always garbage, but I would take time and just like ride in silence and sit and just like reflect and, talk to God or whatever the case is. And that would be the time that I allotted for myself.
Sometimes I find myself writing in silence anyway. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but you need it though. You need it sometimes. So whatever it is that, if it's baby therapy.
Now, if it's your children and they triggers for you, no. But for us, babies.
But oftentimes people like, they be like, I had a stressful day. I come home from work and I just hug my child. And everything is right with the world.
But some people's stress is derived from being a parent, like the stresses of a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, natural ways that you can boost your mood is like with pets or babies or exercising.
Grounding, y'all, you're thinking we're a bunch of tree huggers. Grounding is a thing. Get out there, put your feet on the freaking ground.
Yeah.
Not in your house, not on the tile, on the carpet, on the wood. Go outside for a bit. Maybe put some socks on if you're kind of squeamish, but go outside, go outside barefoot for a second. And just feel the earth. Feel like there's so many things that are bigger than the problems that you have, even though they feel like they're like squashing you. But look at the world. Like, there's so much world out there. There's so much out there that whatever you're going through, like Nay said, is temporary. And it's likely that over time it can change. Like, just keep that in mind. There's something also, not to be a nerd, I don't have full research on this, so I can't tell you the specifics, but when you are grounding, when you put your feet on the ground that the Lord made, there's electricity that you're sharing with the earth. Like, it changes your body chemistry. Believe it or not, it changes your body chemistry. And of course, you're not going to go out there and be like, whoa, this feels amazing. But
I don't know when have I gone outside with no shoes on?
I don't know, but I used to like to work out like that. When the pandemic first started, I would go outside, and not on the patio where we have tile, but I would go outside by the pool and put out my yoga mat and do my yoga or do whatever it was that I was doing. And I didn't have on shoes because guess what? I go inside and take a bath anyway. Wash your feet, it's fine. Like, just go out and find something that you like to do, that you consider an outlet, and prioritize it. Make time for it. Like, why not? Make time for yourself.
Have to.
You're worth it.
Yeah, you have
and
to.
And your mental health is worth it. I promise you, your mental health is worth it. Because once you decline, it's real hard to get back up after that. Start early. Even if you don't feel like, I'm fine mentally, whatever. Like, still, preventative.
Now we're about to go run.
I'm about to go eat them waffles I heated up.
Ew.
Before I got out here. I'm so hungry.
We don't usually record in the morning, but we did today. So if we look sleepy, that's why.
I've had some of my coffee, so I'm a human now. Anyways, we've taken up enough of y'all's time.
We have. Thank you to Melonie for being here, and we'll see y'all next time. Ooh.
Thanks for joining us.
Remember, feel free to slide in our DMs with topics or questions you'd like to chat about.
It goes down in that DM.
Hey.
It goes down in
Hey.
that DM.
Hey.
It goes down. Sorry. Your support really means a lot to us.
See you next time.
Bye, y'all.